Flour is up 36% since March 2020. The average price of white all-purpose flour in the U.S. as of July 2024 is 58 cents per pound. On average, Americans are paying $3 for a dozen grade A large eggs, although that is lower than their peak in mid-2023, where they were almost $5 a dozen.
I'm going to guess 6 3 times in a row and see how many listeners I can scare away.
See how many demons you can summon. Dairy farmers are kind of having to be choosy about what they're putting their attention to, and butter and margarine is getting produced less, therefore it is more expensive. The average price for a boneless USDA choice round roast as of June 2024 is $6.88. I'm trying to give you a hint.
What makes you think I need all these hints?
Your performance over the last hour, but sure, go ahead. Steven gave me puppy dog eyes and being like, I think I do need that hint.
Please, sir, can I have some more?
According to Gallup's annual economy and personal finance poll for the third year in a row, the percentage of Americans naming inflation, or the high cost of living, as the most important financial problem facing their family has reached a new high. And according to a 2024 study from Pew Research, inflation is the largest problem facing America. Steven Clark, how are you doing? Are you scared of inflation?
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah. Well, we can trace this all back to Obama.
We're still feeling the effects. It's just, we're never going to get out of it. Trump did his best, but his hands were tied behind his back because of COVID. So
no, because of QAnon, all the bloodthirsty celebrities that he had to fight in the war against child predators.
And
he's definitely not one of those.
Lib-stacked Congress that he had to deal with.
Okay, off the rails already. First 30 seconds.
To answer your question, I'm doing great. How are you?
Shitty. But today I'm going to do better, because today we're going to put on our economist caps and talk about that big scary gorilla in the room called inflation. And I'm here with another big scary gorilla, Steven Clark, like I said. Steven, before we talk more about inflation, tell me about the grocery shopping in your household. Who does it? How often? What would you guess you spend per week?
So I grocery shop twice a week usually, and it's always me.
You or your butler?
Butler goes with me, holds my hand. He holds things that I...
That's just for emotional support.
Typically, I don't like doing a cart. So the butler is there. It's almost like a golf caddy, like a guy who's there and he's carrying my things and he's making suggestions as I'm going. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's my decision on, what club I'm going to use and what I'm going to do. So he follows me around, carries my things, makes suggestions, and then we go out to the grocery store. He loads the car. It's like a suit he has. It's like have you seen those, like a
kangaroo type pouch that comes off?
Yeah, like that. But it's like the things that carry kids. It's like a backpack, but a backpack on the front.
I know what you're talking about.
The kid rides in the front. Yeah, it's like that. But he puts my things in that little pouch on his chest. And then we load up my car, and then I get my car, and I say, okay, I'll see you at home. And then I drive. He walks back.
Oh, he walks back. Okay, but he's not carrying anything during the walk, at least.
No, of course not.
Okay, of course not. Yeah, that would be really mean.
Yeah, so I go twice a week. Usually somebody comes with me. Sprita will come with me on Sundays. I will go somewhere in the middle of the week, usually Wednesday or Thursday, to get the rest of the way. I'm not somebody who keeps a lot of things in the fridge. So we buy what we need for 3-ish days, and we make all of that. And I do meal prep on Sundays and make lunches for the week. And then when the fridge is empty, we go back to the store. And unfortunately, that means when we're hungry and I don't have anything, that means there's nothing to snack on.
So rub it in a little more that you're rich and you can afford to grocery shop 1,000 times a week without issue.
Twice.
So you are the one, pretty much every time you are there at the store picking out groceries.
99% of the time.
Okay.
If I'm busy or something's going on, then she'll go. But
have you noticed an increase in your grocery bill on average?
Yes.
Over since like COVID, roughly.
On average, yes.
Well, I have a report here that says since March 2020, which is the month COVID kind of shook up all of our lives, grocery prices in the U.S. are up about 25%. And the average grocery budget per week across American households is, what would you guess? Average weekly grocery budget in America.
For a whole household, we're assuming husband, wife, 2 kids, something like that?
It's just all American households. You're going to average together the single homes and the families.
So grocery store, does that include things like toilet paper, cleaning supplies? Because sometimes people buy those things when they're grocery shopping. Or is this just food?
I don't know for sure, but I'm going to say just food.
Okay. My guess is $400 to $500.
Wow, okay. $270.
Really?
Yeah, which is at an all-time high, in fact.
Well, hell, that's almost what Reed and I spent. I feel like
You
every
guys
time I
have
go to the
bougie
grocery store,
tastes.
it's about a $100 to $150 visit. The second visit is less because the first visit I buy meal prep stuff for lunches, so that inflates the first visit. So I feel like it's like 150-ish the first day, and then it's like 50 to 100-ish the second day. And I thought with kids and everything, you'd almost
we can't
double.
all filet mignons and fucking Wagyu steaks on every time
Salads
like you.
and chicken and vegetables.
Wow. God.
Yeah.
Listen to him, folks. This is what elitism looks like right here.
And I will say, I have definitely noticed chicken prices have gone up a lot.
We're going to talk about all of it here in a moment. Before I reveal the list, I'm going to ask the listeners to pause my voice right now. Well, here in a second, I want you to pick up your phone that you're listening to me on, look at the podcast app you're listening to me on, and rate 10ish Podcast 5 stars. And if you're feeling extra nice, I'd love to hear your thoughts and a quick little written review as well on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for your support. It helps us out a lot. Now, Steven, today you're going to be guessing the top 10 grocery items that have increased most in price since COVID-19. So the percentage difference from March 2020 to March 2024.
You know, a lot of things have gone up, not just groceries. Obviously, not just grocery stuff. Almost everything has gone up.
Dildos, butt plugs, sex workers.
Fleshlights have skyrocketed. I don't know what happened, but I noticed that within days.
Within seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have a whole host of sources, so bear with me for a moment. We got the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. We got the Consumer Price Index. We got the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis. The Personal Consumption Expenditures by State, and the U.S. Census Bureau 2023 Household Pulse Survey. We have the USDA. We have Trace1.com, where I pulled the majority of my research. We did Gallup, Brookings.edu, and SoFi.com. Is that enough for you?
Yes.
Okay. Stephen, what causes inflation other than the damn libs?
I wonder. I don't know if it's just greed, if it's just, something happens on one side of the line and it just compounds and compounds and compounds. And the more hands that are touching it, the more gas prices go up. So it costs more to drive things around. So then the cost of the product goes up. And then I just feel like we live in a society where prices coming down after they go back up is rare, if not altogether impossible. And so
I was just talking about this with someone.
It's just like when something goes up, it can never go back down. And it's the same with stocks and everything. It's just like there's this unrealistic expectation of exponential growth all the time, but everything apparently has to stay the same cost. It just doesn't work.
And it's like, I was just talking today with someone about streaming. Netflix and, Peacock and HBO Max, they're all, not HBO Max, just Max. They're all raising their prices all the time, Disney Plus.
I got a notification today that Hulu is increasing their price. I
was just about to say, I feel like every week I get an email saying, oh, your price is going up. And the thing about that is it will never go back down. The price will never lower again. So it's like it's only going to build from here. And that goes to what you're saying. I mean, gasoline's one of those things that will go up and down. But a lot of things, especially things that people use disposable income on, like entertainment and things like that, once they're up, they don't come back down typically. But we're talking about food today. Inflation measure. I don't know if everyone knows this, but I am a Harvard economist. Been featured on, all... Steven's face. Okay. All right. Well, because I am so well-versed in this subject, I will tell you that inflation measures how much more expensive a set of goods and services has become over a certain period, usually a year. The U.S. was experiencing a low period of inflation before 2020. Then, in early 2020, the COVID-19 coronavirus came and caused all sorts of shit, causing prices for goods and services to rise. So, the three main components that explain the rise in inflation since 2020 is the volatility of energy prices, backlogs of work orders for goods and services caused by supply chain issues from COVID, and price changes in the auto-related industries.
Speak English, Doc. We ain't scientists.
I know. I'm almost done, though. More recently, inflation has been driven mostly by the cost of buying or renting a home. This is due to home building, materials that were delayed during COVID. And I'm saying all this to say what you said earlier. There's a domino effect. When the housing market or the auto industry or energy prices are high, it causes this domino effect to go all the way to your fucking bananas that are now more expensive to buy at the store.
Yep. And the people at the end of the line end up paying the price, which is your average everyday guy and gal.
People like your butler.
People like my butler. God rest his soul.
Oh, he died. You didn't tell me that. Okay. Did it happen after your last grocery trip?
I think it happened when I made him walk home.
Well, it is. We're recording this
One
in the
day he just didn't make it back.
Summer.
And I thought, well, time to get another one.
Time to get a new one, yeah. Well, I wonder if your butler is like some of the families of our past Sidekick hosts who had an inflatable family. If you had an inflatable butler, just replace his ass real easy. But then he's not as good of a butler.
Not as good as a butler, but he does have the benefit of being lighter because he's filled with air, so maybe it'd be easier for him to carry some of those things.
Yeah, and he can't talk back either. Okay, inflation.
Yeah.
While we're still suffering the effects of it today, it has slowed since its peak. It actually peaked in the U.S. in 2023, but prices are still higher than they were. They're just not rising as quickly as they were at their peak. The U.S. has made great progress in fighting inflation, but for the most of the last 3 years, American consumers have been grappling with greater financial pressure from increased prices. Now, the annual rate of inflation that the Consumer Price Index likes to see, or the federal government likes to see through the Consumer Price Index, is they want to see 2% is like a standard raise every year of prices. At the peak in 2023, we saw 9% inflation.
It seems like every year in my industry, once January hits, it's almost like, I don't even know if everything is more expensive for them to make. I just feel like they've set the precedent that every year there's got to be a price increase. So therefore we're doing it. It doesn't even matter if we actually are incurring the inflation that we say we are. They just tell us at the beginning of January, they say, oh yeah, everything's going to be 5-ish to 10% more expensive this year.
Yep.
And there's nothing we can do.
You can use COVID as an excuse. Even now, you can say,
they were using COVID as an excuse.
Yeah, you could say, and sometimes those excuses are valid, but sometimes they're not. And you, as the buyer, what are you going to do? What are you going to say? Well, one of the spending categories where consumers have faced the greatest pressure from price increases is groceries, which brings us to today. Groceries are at record highs in the United States, and this list today comes from like I said earlier, the Consumer Price Index difference between March 2020 and March 2024, the biggest percentage increase, not dollar increase, but percentage increase in grocery items, everyday food items. Steven, what do you think is not on the list?
Well, so we've covered half of it, which is inflation, but what about the other half that has reared its ugly head recently, which is shrinkflation? What do you think about that?
Well, Steven, sometimes when you get in a really cold body of water...
I'll tell you someone who's not suffering shrinkflation, and that is Dr. Buster.
No. What's the opposite of shrinkflation? Bubblyflation? Bubbleflation? Bodacious inflation? I mean, bootyflation? I mean, he's got it all. If we could bottle up the magic that makes Buster's booty infinitely grow and sell that as a way, like if we could just like channel that into other things, energy sources, things like that, it would be hugely life-changing for all of us.
This exponential growth that you're talking about, I feel like scientists should be investing some money in researching that ass, because I almost wonder if the secrets of the universe are in there, because the universe is expanding faster than, it's expanding faster than light can even keep up with. So if, there may be some hidden secrets in there, like, trying to unearth water on Mars to try to see if life is there, we should be looking into Buster's ass to try to see some of the secrets of the expanding universe.
First of all, I would love if they are trying to find water on Mars and they finally find some and then they realize it's peanut butter. It's been peanut butter all along on Mars. Secondly, I think they need to train the James Webb Telescope onto Buster's ass. Get a real good look at those craters and see what we can find on there. Because you're right. I mean, people think I'm joking, but the secrets of the universe, they could be there. Like,
could be anywhere.
We don't know how long it takes. We don't know how long it takes light to get from one ass cheek to the other.
Asking the big questions. My head's going to explode just trying to think about it.
Well, on the last time you were here, we talked about NASA's most expensive projects. I think that's probably too costly for them. There's too much ass to observe. They would need too many people to be on it. It's too expensive, so that's probably why they haven't done it.
Got to think, Money talks, right?
Money talks.
Speaking of money talking.
Great segue, yeah.
Great segue. So you said, what are things that are not on the list? Does it have to be grocery store stuff?
Yeah. Well, what the fuck, Steven? Should we talk about fucking...
I don't...
My
mind was thinking, what's at the store?
Basketballs?
We were talking about inflation and prices rising. Grocery store items that... I'm hard-pressed to think of anything that hasn't gone up in price. I'm pretty sure everything has. It'd be harder for it to be a harder list to guess things that haven't gone up as opposed to the top 10 things that have gone up the most.
Okay, well, let's just get into it then. Name me something that you have noticed has gone up, not just a little bit, but a lot.
Well, I'm going to start with the basic things. There's stuff that I don't buy at the store. Bread is one of them. We don't usually buy bread that often, but I'm going to guess that bread is on the list.
Is that because you think you're better than the rest of us? That you don't need bread?
No, it's just because we just don't use bread for anything. Every time we buy a loaf of bread, I even try to buy the mini loaf and the small ass bag of bread, and we still can't get through it. I still end up throwing half of it away because we never eat it.
Wow, isn't everyone impressed with Steven's fucking calorie control, his carb intake? Wow.
Okay.
Well, bread is a broad category. Do you ever buy biscuits, rolls, or muffins?
No, but only we do whenever I make a trip to the lake. We usually have biscuits up there, but at home, no.
Oh, now you can afford to go to the lake all the time.
Okay.
We're learning a lot about Steven today. Okay, so I can't tell you why they grouped these together, but they did. So biscuits, rolls, and muffins is one category.
Okay, so biscuits, rolls, and muffins. Let's guess.
It is on here.
I'm going to put this at 7.
Not too far off. It's number 9. And the price increase, this is averaging all of the United States from March 2020 to March 2024, the price difference is 31%.
Jeez.
That's a lot for a 4-year period.
That is a lot.
So you don't eat sandwiches? Nothing?
Nope. Never have sandwiches. Never.
Sandwich is like one of my go-tos. Like on one of those times where like I don't feel like cooking anything, nothing else is speaking to me. What's something easy that I know I like that's not super unhealthy? Sandwich.
Never say. It's usually because we plan it all out, and I think I plan Rita to death sometimes with some of it because I'm like, let's think, what are we gonna do Monday? What are we gonna do Tuesday? What are we gonna do Wednesday? And I want to have a plan, and then I want to go into the grocery store with the plan, with the list. I want to get in, get out, get on with my life. I don't like being in the grocery store for too long, and so I usually like the day before, the day of, I will come up with a plan of what we're gonna eat through the week, and then we go buy and execute that plan.
Do you request, like with the city, a blueprint of the grocery store you're going to, like an actual physical blueprint?
Usually I submit my list for approval through the city, and then they will stamp it for approval when it comes back. And then once it comes back, I'll go file for a permit, pay for my permit fees. And then while I'm at the grocery store at the checkout counter, I then call in for an inspection. So an inspector will come out from the city, take a look at what I'm buying. They'll give me the approval. Once it's signed off, I'm good. I can leave, and then it's on to the next fight.
Wow. Well, that's why you're spending more, Steven. Fucking all those permit fees. Fuck. Those that's what gets you.
Those are what sneaks up on you.
Yeah. Well, much like biscuits, rolls, and muffins sneaks up on the ass of many Americans, including myself. It is number 9.
So there wasn't any other bread, like loaves of bread, just wheat bread, whatever. No, that was
there is an ingredient in bread on here,
wheat,
but no bread. No.
Yeast.
You're in the right arena, but no.
Flour.
Now, I'm sorry. I'm confused. Which flour? A rose? A daisy?
I think it's sunflower. Something bright,
nope,
sunny,
sunflower's not on here.
Summer.
No.
Oh, no. Damn.
But flour, Flour, is on here. What number do you think it is?
God, I feel like it's got to be number 10. No?
Why?
Because it's an ingredient in the biscuits, rolls, and muffins, and I feel like the final product...
We're just talking a percentage.
I guess so.
I mean, some of this shit is like less than $1, but the percentages...
All right, you've talked me into it. Let's go up to number 6.
It's number 3.
So what the...
See, I just don't know if your head's in the game today.
Something that I don't know how long flour lasts. We've had the same container of flour up there for a very long time because I don't usually bake that often, and sometimes I'll bake something and we'll use the flour. Usually it's like if we don't use flour in banana bread.
I'm looking how long it lasts because I have no idea. That's a great question because I think many homes around the world do the same thing. So, Steven, would you guess, how long would you guess if your life depended on it?
My guess would be if it's in a sealed container, my guess is a year.
No, how long would you guess the flour in your house has been there?
It's probably been about a year, maybe a year and a half.
3 to 8 months.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
It lasts 3 months at room temperature or 6 months if stored in a cooler place. If it's in the fridge, it can last up to a year.
Does it matter if it's sealed? Like in a...
I mean, I'm sure it does. It doesn't say, though.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I haven't used that flour in a really long time, but now I know if I'm going to make cookies sometime soon, going to have to get new flour, give it to the butler.
Get new flour. Well, you're in for a shock because flour is up 36% since March 2020. That puts it at number 3. The average price of white all-purpose flour in the U.S. as of July 2024 is 58 cents per pound. Whew, I'll let everyone gather themselves off the floor for a minute. It's just crazy. Fuck. You know, sidebar. Do you have people, maybe you're one of these people, I actually don't know, but do you have people in your life that, like, all they talk about is the price of gasoline?
No. When
and
I
they will
was...
like drive across town to fill up at a certain gas station because it's like 8 cents cheaper or whatever.
I have a distinct memory of riding in the car with my great-grandmother when I was a kid, and she was shocked that gas went up a penny. And it went from like 97 cents to 98 cents or something like that. And she turned around and we went to a different gas station.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I know people like that today. And maybe this makes me a weirdo snob. I don't know. But I never pay attention to the gas price. I don't even look at it. Do you know why? Because it doesn't fucking matter what it costs. Because no matter what it costs, I got to get gas. So it doesn't matter what it is.
It's like some of those people that will drive around in circles in the parking lot looking for a close parking space to the entrance, when if you would have just parked further away and walked a little bit, it wouldn't have cost you that much time at all. And in fact, you would have gotten a little bit of exercise. So where's the harm in that? Sometimes I purposefully park a little farther away just so I'm not parked next to a bunch of people.
That's a great analogy, Stephen. Anyway, sorry to the gas station. No, well, seriously, it's a good analogy. And I'm sorry to any gas price watchers out there I may have offended. I still love you.
If you watch gas prices, just unsubscribe from this show.
Just unsubscribe. You really should, though. Should not, because I love you. So 58 cents per pound is the average in the U.S. right now. And this is why, though. Because of widespread drought, a whopping 75% of the country's wheat crops are currently being grown in drought conditions, according to the USDA. This means that huge portions of American wheat crops are dying, and those that are surviving the heat are often inedible or low quality. And so this year marks a record low in wheat production for the U.S., which means the supply can't meet demand, which means the prices are up.
Sounds like liberal propaganda.
It sounds like tree hugger hippie bullshit is what it sounds like. All right? Can I get an amen?
Yep. Amen. So how often do you buy flour? I'm curious.
Fucking, I don't
You ever
know.
use flour for anything?
No.
You don't like bake anything, or?
Ashley bakes sometimes. I don't know if I've ever picked up a bag of flour and put it in a shopping cart in my life.
How do you know if my sister bakes or not? Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
A very, very, very small percentage of listeners will understand this joke. I am not, in fact, married to Steven's sister, but I commend you for it. I don't personally buy flour much. I don't think there's much flour buying happening in my household, and I would guess the flour in my kitchen is a year old or more, like yours.
Yeah, we're in the same boat.
So flour is white, typically.
Well, I'm going to shift gears to something. I'm trying to stay in the, everybody's going to buy this almost every single time that they go to the grocery store. So, like, your milk and your eggs, which I'm going to guess both, but I'm going to start with eggs.
So if flour is number 3 and biscuits, rolls, and muffins are number 9, then where are eggs?
I'm going to put eggs at, I'm almost tempted to say 1, but I'm going to put it at 2.
Are you sure?
I am.
You're going to lock that in?
Locking it in. Where's the buzzer?
It's number 1. Eggs
Damn,
are
I should have done it number 1.
I tried to give you an out.
I know.
Now, they don't specify what kind of eggs, Steven. These could be fucking ostrich eggs, turkey eggs.
Could be green eggs. And next I'll be guessing ham.
Eggs have grown 50% in price. On average, Americans are paying $3 for a dozen grade A large eggs, although that is lower than their peak in mid-2023, where they were almost $5 a dozen. Eggs cost the most in Hawaii, Florida, and Alabama, and at their peak, eggs were almost $10 in Hawaii.
Alabama just is like an outlier. Like Hawaii, I get it. It's way out there. You probably got to, whatever. Florida, I can get that. But Alabama, it's like kind of in the middle. I guess it's not totally in the middle. It's more in the middle than Florida is, but I don't know.
There are chicken farms in Florida and Alabama. There's no... And Hawaii, for that matter. I mean, Hawaii and Florida, I kind of get. Alabama's very random. Now, the eggs cost the least. They're the cheapest in Missouri, Nebraska, and Indiana. A lot of flyover states there. The spike in egg prices that peaked in 2023 was largely fueled by scarcity An outbreak of avian flu sent egg production into decline as more than 43 million laying hens were lost to the disease or depopulation efforts. With fewer eggs in supply, but demand not easing because, Karen needs her eggs for her fucking, whatever fucking cake
Her
she's
veggie
making.
omelet with avocado toast.
Thank you. That was better. So demand does not go away, but the supply did. So prices began to, egg inventory was declining, so prices went up. Prices began to decline as egg inventory increased. I just said that. However, the ongoing outbreak and strong demand have helped keep prices high, and inflation can also be pointed to as a contributing factor. So that's eggs at number 1.
I think chickens, more than any other animal, I feel bad for just the living conditions that they're forced to.
Pigs.
Yeah. You think pigs are worse than chickens? I feel like
Well, here's the
chickens
deal.
are like, they can't even walk. They're like pump them full of hormones or whatever, and they just like, they just sit there. That's their whole life is sitting there, and then I don't even think they move.
I guess, but man, those pigs are treated not that much better if they're better at all. And pigs are like as smart as a dog. And then they just take them by the feet while they're still alive and hang them upside down and cut their throat. It's all terrible. I agree.
It's all terrible. Humans are terrible.
Humans are the worst. Well, chicken or pig, Stephen, which one would you rather eat?
Chicken. I buy chicken every time I go. The chicken is in every meal. I eat chicken for lunch and for dinner almost every day usually.
But do you think either of those animals or any of them on the top 10?
Well, I think they might be, but I want to go with my other guess that I was going to go with, which was milk.
Milk is not on here, surprisingly.
Really? Wow.
But there is a dairy product on here that uses milk.
Ice cream?
No. You thought January 6th was bad when the election was quote-unquote stolen. Imagine America, the revolt if the ice cream prices got too high. You couldn't handle that.
Something that, I mean, like what, creamer?
Think what's
cheese.
like
Oh, cheese is another one.
that's a good guess, but no, not cheese. Think about this is a ingredient in like almost everything. Almost everything uses this.
God, it's these obvious ones that get me.
Sold in sticks. Not always, but most frequently sold in sticks. The look on your face. They're averaging $4.90 per pound as of July 2024. This is tasty, watching you struggle. Oh,
sold in sticks, and it's a dairy product.
Uh-huh.
Oh, chocolate, like candy?
So, Steven, you think chocolate candy is an ingredient in almost everything?
No, but I thought you said that the dairy was an ingredient in almost in this. And
This is a dairy item, but this item is also an ingredient in almost every cooked food. Especially if you go out. If you go out to a restaurant, there's going to be so much of this in your meals.
Oh, is it butter?
Butter.
God, I feel like a dummy.
You are a dummy.
I was about to make an enrobed in chocolate joke again.
You're enrobed in butter, my friend, and margarine. Let's not forget margarine. And butter and margarine is where on the list? You've been a fucking stupid idiot dumbass so far on your list ranking guesses. So let's see if you can.
I'm hoping to keep the trend going and keep the folks who I'm speaking to in their ears live right now happy. Let's go with just right smack in the middle, number 5. Give me number 5.
Take number 5 and double it because it is number 10 with a 29% increase in average price since 2020.
How much did you say?
29% increase.
Oh, 29.
I told you the price earlier, but regular butter in the stick format. You know what I mean by sticks, right? Like those little bars of butter.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It just wasn't clicking for me, but yeah.
A pound of those is averaging $4.90. And according to Fortune.com, butter prices are at their all-time high. This is because more dairy producers shifted to cheese, while bird flu was keeping output tight. And bird flu I mentioned with the egg production as well. So dairy farmers are kind of having to be choosy about what they're putting their attention to, and butter and margarine is getting produced less. Therefore, it is more expensive than it's ever been.
They're just full of excuses, aren't they?
Full of butter.
You know, while we're talking about butter, there's one thing that drives me crazy about butter, and I don't buy it very often, and usually when I do buy it, it's rare that I need more than one stick. So sometimes I just want to buy one stick of butter, but you can't. You got to buy a container that has like 4 sticks of butter in it or something. That's like the smallest you can find.
Freeze
and then
the
I
rest
have
of
3
them.
sticks of butter that just sit in the fridge forever, and then they end up expiring because I never use
Put
the
them in
butter.
the fucking... Do you not know... Stephen,
What, freeze them?
maybe 100 years ago, we had this thing called a freezer invented. You don't have one in your house? Okay. Listen, I'm going to send you a link on Google to what a freezer is. Look it up, read about it, and maybe consider buying one, and then you put your butter in there.
Have you ever put bread in the freezer?
No, I am aware of people who do that. I think they should be locked away. You know, the Republicans talk about mass deportations of, people from south of the border. I think we put that energy instead into the people that freeze their bread, freeze their chips, Steven.
They did both. My first company out of college, they did both. I would open the freezer and there would be bread and chips sitting in there. And I was like, what the hell? I'd never heard of or seen anybody do that in my life until that first job out of college.
First time I saw pretzels in a freezer was at a job that I had in high school, a job I had with Buster, in fact. And there were pretzels in there, and I immediately went on a killing rampage in my town, killed a few people, because that doesn't make sense to me. It ruins the taste. Now, butter makes sense because it's a soft thing that goes in the fridge anyway. Well, I know some people don't put it in the fridge, but it can go in the fridge. But chips? Fucking bread? Where does it end? We gonna put our fucking batteries in the freezer?
Rita puts batteries in the refrigerator.
Is that a joke?
No, it's not a joke.
Why does she do that?
I think they last longer in there.
Steven, I'm concerned about you.
Was this just the line?
I'm worried about your
we've talked about
safety.
so much today. I'm just surprised that this was the thing that set you over the edge, that made you just
I'm worried about your
step
health
aside
and
and
safety.
collect
Are you
yourself.
in a safe spot right now? Are you in a safe place? Where's Rita? Is she near? Did Rita tell you to say you were okay right now?
Here's another one. Do you put apples in the refrigerator?
First of all, we're going to come back to the battery in the fridge thing because I'm not fucking over that. But secondly, apples don't go in the refrigerator unless I've sliced them and then I don't eat all the slices and I put the slices in the fridge for a day at the most. But a whole apple I do not put in the refrigerator.
I always put apples in the refrigerator. It's not even a keeping them
But
preserved
then it
thing.
fucking cold.
That's exactly it. I like them cold.
Ugh. I have very sensitive
or colder.
teeth.
I don't want them frozen, but I like it.
Well, fuck, we put everything in the freezer at your house.
And I like a nice crisp apple with a good crunch. I don't want to bite into an apple and it be like I'm biting into a little ball of peanut butter.
First of all, we love peanut butter here on this show. Secondly, how do you like your batteries? Do you like those crunchy when you take them out of your fucking fridge and eat them on a sandwich? Or do you prefer them?
So I was Googling it, and it says that older batteries, you would do this to preserve their life, but modern batteries are more efficient than they used to be, so putting them in the fridge is not necessary.
Right. So do you want to tell Rita it's over now, or do you want me to help you craft a text to tell her it's over?
She'll hear it whenever this episode comes out.
We're going to have to move on because I'm fucking upset. So that was butter and margarine at 10. You also have biscuits, rolls, and muffins at 9. You're missing 8, 7, 6, 5, and 4. You have 3 as flour. You're missing 2, and 1 is eggs. With over 250 episodes of Tennis Podcast and counting, it can be tough to know where to start or which episode to pick next. The Tennis Podcast episode guide has you covered. Go to tennispod.com/episodes and you'll be able to see all of our episodes filtered by topic and by Sidekick host. For example, are you looking for lists about animals? Select the animals topic and you'll see every episode we have ever done relating to animals, such as the smartest animals, the deadliest animals, etc. There are dozens of topics to choose from, such as food, music, true crime, sports, and more. It's the quickest way to find Tennis Podcast episodes in the topics you're most interested in. Or maybe you're less picky about the list topic and the Sidekick host is more important to you. Say you are a psychopath and you actually want more Dr. Buster episodes. First of all, wow. Secondly, you can use the episode guide to quickly see all of the episodes Dr. Buster has ever been on. The same is true for all of our regulars, like Alex Johns, Brad Choma, and the rest. One last thing, when you find the episode, you can click into the episode to see links to all of the most popular podcast players like Spotify and Apple, as well as a short visual trailer for that episode and a full interactive transcript. The Tennis Podcast episode guide is truly your best bet in finding the next episode for you. Try it now at tennispod.com/episodes or just click the link in the show notes.
Okay, let's switch over to I'm going to guess bacon next.
No, there's only one more meat product in the top 10. Well, I apologize. There's 2 meats in here, and neither of them are made of pig.
Well, okay, so let's just do it. I was saving it, but I don't even know why I'm saving it because we already have number 1. So what about chicken?
No chicken.
What? How's that possible? Chicken is like twice as expensive now. I feel like I spend so much more on chicken than I used to.
Why don't you take it up with the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Consumer Price Index, the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, the Personal Consumption Expenditures by State, and the U.S. Census Bureau 2023 Household Pulse Survey, as well as the USDA.
I'm calling bullshit on it because one of the reasons that eggs was number one was because of that avian flu that wiped out a whole bunch of chickens, and then all the prices went up. Well, therefore, that by extension, all of that chicken meat also was wasted. So, I mean, one excuse applies to the eggs and it doesn't apply to the chicken. I don't believe it.
I'm just telling, fuck, Steven, I don't know everything. I know it's confusing to think.
I thought you had a Harvard degree.
In economics, not in fucking chicken farming.
My mistake.
Look, I agree that with what you said doesn't add up, but all I can do is report the facts. And the fact is chicken is not in the top 10. I wonder, I might be able to look up what number it is in the ranking.
Well, while you're doing that, my next guess is going to be, I guess, like hamburger meat, like ground beef.
Oh, well, I won't bother looking it up. I couldn't find it. But beef hamburger, no, but beef something, yes.
Steak?
Steak is on here.
I'm going to throw this at number 6.
You're very close. It's number 5. There's been a 33% increase in beef steaks in the United States over the last 4 years. And as of July 2024, the average price of an uncooked beef steak is $10.86 per pound. However, prices vary by cut. For example, a New York strip steak is averaging at $26 per pound. But we know Steven only gets the $3,000 per pound Wagyu steaks and whatever else he
No, if I'm going to buy steak, usually New York strip is what I go for.
Yeah, New York strip's hard to go wrong with that. I agree, bub. You cook a lot of steak? Doesn't sound like it.
No, almost never. There was one time where I thought I wanted to try cooking steak right and like basting it in the butter and whatever, tilting the pan and all that, just off of YouTube videos. And when I did that, I set off the fucking fire alarm and it was smoky as all hell. And I thought I'm never going to fucking do this again.
Yeah.
If I had a grill, I would probably do it more, which I do have a grill.
You gotta get you a freezer and a grill. I'm writing this down.
I have a grill. It's just, right now it's at Rita's parents' because I'm not allowed to have the grill on my balcony at my apartment.
Tell me, at her parents', is this grill in the refrigerator next to the batteries?
No.
Okay. Well, there's that at least. We got one victory on that
But
front.
I'll tell you one thing we do. We take the propane and we put that in the fridge.
The first time you said the battery's in the fridge, I thought you were joking and it turned out you weren't, so I actually don't know if you're joking now.
We're going to leave him guessing, folks. I'm not going to give him the answer.
You said propane and not even Hank Hill joke. Okay, well, you must be tired. Well, what other beef product could be on here?
Oh, there's another beef product?
If it's not a hamburger.
And it's not steak.
Steak's number 5.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you're saying there's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I drawing a blank here?
You might have missed earlier. Maybe my audio cut out when I called you a fucking idiot.
Head cheese.
Cheese. Remember the bear head cheese?
Yeah, that's
from our worst things they ate in the Old West bonus episode. Okay, we're looking for a beef roast.
Oh,
here.
Okay. A roast.
That was kind of a hard one to guess.
I guess. I should have known. I've made roast before. I just wasn't. I'm just a fucking idiot. So let's put beef roast at, I'm going to put it under steak. I'm going to stick with 6.
You and that 6. Why don't you just fucking marry that 6 already? Jesus Christ.
I'm going to guess 6 3 times in a row and see how many listeners I can scare away.
See how many demons you can summon into this
Someone
podcast
to help me finish the rest of this list.
They couldn't do much worse. Beef roast is number 2.
How?
Which is a divisible of 6, so there's that.
Why is steak so much lower?
I don't know. The average price for a boneless USDA choice round roast as of June 2024 is $6.88.
Are we talking about Buster's ass?
I almost made a Buster's ass joke when we were talking about the steak. I almost made a Buster's ass joke earlier, and I thought, nah, we've done it enough. I'm not going to bring it up again.
We probably have kind of driven it to the ground a little bit.
And you bring it up. It's because we can't help ourselves. Listeners,
it's
I need you to understand.
fruit. It's too easy.
It's low-hanging ass is what it is. I need the listeners to understand something. Maybe we haven't made this clear, but if you saw Dr. Buster in person and you saw that ass, you'd understand. That's all I'm going to say. We don't have to talk about it more. We'll move on, but I just want you to know that we're not doing it just because.
If that NASA project ever gets funding, write to your senators, everybody. You will get to take a good look at it, and in that case, I hope you do. It's a marvel to behold. It's like seeing the Grand Canyon. I mean, it's right up there. Your jaw will hit the floor. It's like wow, pictures just don't do this justice.
I think the Grand Canyon was inspired by Buster's ass, is what I think.
I cannot confirm or deny that. I don't have a Harvard degree.
All right, well, you just need 8, 7, 6, and 4. Now, we are strictly out of meat. Let's knock out the last ingredient item on here. I mean, I guess anything can be an ingredient, but this
So
is
maybe
common
sugar?
use. Sugar, that's it. Sugar
Okay.
and sugar substitutes. They're bundled together. But what number is that?
Yeah, you know what I'm going to say. This is the
Steven,
third one.
No.
I'm almost afraid.
Fuck,
To,
hang
it's
on,
like
hang on.
saying
Let me get my
Beetlejuice
fucking-
3 times. Like I'm almost afraid to say it the third time. Who knows what
Let me get
what
the
demon
Catholic
could bust
Church
through
on
my
the
through my
line
door.
Hang on. Let me get the Catholic Church on the line here. I got to get the exorcism approved. Okay, I think we're good. Steven, go ahead.
Number 6. All right. There it is, everybody. Nick is dead. I'll be taking over the show. Next week, I'm going to be joined by Dr. Buster. We're going to be going over the 10... Oh, wait, I can't tell him the list. That's wrong. Dr. Buster, it's your list, so I'll see you next week.
I came back to life because of how terrible you fucked that up just now. It was the power of your failure brought me back to life.
Yeah, we can't all host the tennis pod.
No, you fucking can't. That's why there's only one host. Sugar and sugar substitutes is number 4 with a 35% increase.
The devil let me down.
He did. He doesn't do that often, but when it comes to sugar, he will. As of August 2024, the current price of sugar is about 19 cents per pound. However, unlike groceries as a whole, the highest sugar prices are not now. They were way back in 1974 when they were double the price, 38 cents per pound. I don't know why. I didn't look into what caused sugar prices to be so high back then, but I just found that interesting.
So what was the percentage on this?
35.
35. For the listeners, I'm writing down these numbers and then I'm going to fact check Nick. And if any of these are wrong, he will be hearing from my lawyer.
Do I need to read through the sources again that I covered a few times now?
No.
Because that's who you send your letter to.
I think you put half of the listeners to sleep when you were going through that.
That's fine. Hey, that's the price of being accurate.
The cost of success.
Because guess what? If I didn't read those sources, I'd fucking hear bitching from people on social media about, where'd you get your sources for that shit? So
Yeah, they probably have pitchforks and torches standing outside your front yard.
yeah, it's like I said earlier, with Jan 6 would look like child's play if the ice cream prices ever got too high. Same thing here. All right, so sugar is white, right? Usually.
So let's
I'm trying to give you a hint.
well,
Sugar is
what makes you
white.
think I need all these hints?
But your performance over the last hour, but sure, go ahead.
Are potatoes on the list?
No,
Well, all right then.
you don't need any hints, so go ahead. Steven gave me puppy
Something
dog
white.
eyes. There was puppy dog eyes momentarily of him being like, I think I do need that hint.
Please, sir, can I have some more? White. Let's see.
And I'm not talking about your ass.
White as can be.
This is a topping.
Oh, is this like a whipped cream?
No. Something healthier than whipped cream usually is put on top. This is put on top of.
Oh, is it like yogurt?
Closer. It's not always white.
Is it sour cream?
No. The most popular version of this is white, but it does come in other colors.
Is it Cool Whip? Tell me.
You think you said whipped cream, and I wouldn't have led you to Cool Whip?
What the hell else is a white topping that?
Okay, you put it on something green, typically.